My name is Gregor Samsa. I live with my dad, my mom, and my sister. Even though we all live together, we're not the very talkative bunch. We mostly just keep to ourselves and do whatever we want to do. For me, it includes a lot of traveling for business purposes. To tell you the truth, I'm not the biggest fan of it. My life actually isn't that great. Well, in reality, it pretty much sucks.
She smelled the daisy, she smelled the daisy.
It all started when my dad borrowed some money from this guy, and he couldn't pay it back. My dad figured that the best way to repay all the money was by utilizing me, I guess.
Take her for a ride on my big jet plane.
So now I have to work for the person my dad borrowed the money from as a traveling salesman. I absolutely hate it. I feel like a prisoner in my own life. One day, out of nowhere, I woke up and realized that I turned into a beetle. I guess it's kind of weird, but you know, whatever. I think the worst part about it all was that I missed a train to work that morning. I had to work off the debt that my dad had accumulated. But how was I going to do that if I couldn't get to work? I mean, I could hardly move in my own body, so I guess work was way out of the question. I couldn't exactly face my family like this, so I ended up locking myself up in my room. They couldn't understand what was wrong with me because my voice was completely changed. It pretty much just sounded like high-pitched gibberish. Soon enough, my office manager came in the house and started knocking on my door to ask me to come out. But when I didn't, he started accusing me of stealing money from work. I couldn't believe my ears. I just couldn't take it anymore. I had to explain my problem. So I climbed up onto the door and opened the lock with my jaws. It took me a while, but in the end, I finally managed to open the door. I didn't exactly receive the greatest of reactions when they all saw me. Actually, that's somewhat of an understatement. Even more so, that's more like a major understatement. Everyone flipped. My manager made a run for it, and when I ran after him to tell him to back me up at work, my dad started threatening me with a cane and a newspaper. Best dad in the world. It turned out that I ended up injuring a leg and my left side while making a run back to my room. After that incident, I stayed in my room mostly. My sister came in to give me food, but she still couldn't bear to look at me, so I started hiding under the couch until she was gone to spare her the trouble of looking at my ugly face. I heard my family talking about their financial troubles due to me. They had some money saved up, but it wasn't enough to support the entire family, so all of them ended up having to get jobs. No one really cared about me. My only visitor was my sister, and she ran out as quickly as possible. Until one day, my mother had the heart to see her only son and decided to come visit me in the solidarity of my room.
I wanna hold her, I wanna kiss her.
Well, that didn't turn out so good. She ended up fainting at the sight of me, and my dad hurled an apple at me when he realized what had happened. The apple ended up getting stuck in my back and causing me excruciating pain. He probably would have killed me too if my mother hadn't come to her senses and gotten up in time to run in the room and beg him to spare my life, his only son's life. I had honestly never felt so scared in my entire existence.
Gonna take it for a ride on a big jet plane. Gonna take it for a ride on a big jet plane.
It took me a month to recover from the apple wound, but on the bright side, my family started leaving my door open so I could look at them eating dinner in the evenings. I mean, it was better than nothing. I overheard them talking about how their financial issues were getting worse and how they had to sell all the family jewelry. I couldn't stop myself from thinking that it was all my fault. It was because of me that they were in this situation. I literally felt like the biggest failure.
Gonna take it for a ride on a big jet plane.
To make ends meet, they ended up getting 3 boarders to stay in the house. And to keep things clean, they hired a maid who was scared of nothing, not even me.
Gonna take it for a ride on a big jet plane. Gonna take it for a ride on a big.
One day, while the dinner was being served, my sister decided to take out her violin and start playing. I hadn't heard her playing music in years, and I just couldn't help it, but in that moment, I had to follow the music. It was like deja vu. It was just like the time when my family and the office manager first saw me in my new body. The boarders didn't know about me, so when they spotted me, literally, all hell broke loose. All I heard over the noisy fiasco was my sister talking about how she couldn't stand me and how I needed to go. Once back in my room, I guess I started to agree with her. And that's pretty much the last thing I remember before I died.
Gonna take it for a ride on a big jet plane.